everybody. Wonderful to see you all. We'd love to have you videos on and be able to see you all and chat with you. So if you can, please turn on your videos. Hello.
Ma'am, we cannot start the video as we are doing some work.
Okay, no problem. If you can, please turn it on. That'll be lovely. Hi, Kairavi. Hi. Eril, is that how I pronounce your name? Am I doing it right? So we'll just wait a few minutes while more people join us. Good time to get to know each other a little bit. So I'm curious, what is something you're feeling grateful for today? Kairavi, do you want to get us started?
அவங்கள பார்க்க வச்சிட்டிய மாதிரி அவங்க வீட்டுல இவங்க இருக்காங்களே
Go ahead, Kairavi.
அப்போ மாறி யாரு
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Just a time to get to know each other a little bit better. So
Yeah.
I'm actually curious where you're joining us from. And is
I'm
that
joining from Ahmedabad.
Ahmedabad? Wonderful.
Yeah.
How did you get to know about the workshop?
Actually, my daughter has participated in ASSET, and in that she scored good, and they preferred us to join this. So I
Wonderful.
hope.
Super. I'm also curious, what is something you're feeling grateful for today?
Nothing as much, but I'm happy that I'll connect with you and I'll get to know.
Right back at you. Very grateful to connect with you as well. Hi, everyone who's joined us. So please feel free to turn your videos on. It'll be nice to see you. Hi, Santi.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi. I'm
Hi.
curious where you're joining us from.
I'm joining from Vishakhapatnam, Andhra Pradesh.
Oh, wonderful. So we have Ahmedabad, we have Visakhapatnam, and Soumya, Siddharth, and I are joining from Bangalore. So it's fun to see the geography. What is something you're feeling grateful for today, Shanti?
Yes, ma'am. I am very excited to join in this workshop. My son secured good marks in ASSET exam in last year. He selected for ATS exam this year. I
Wonderful.
got mail from you, ASSET people. I joined this. That's it.
Super. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Does anyone else want to share where you're joining us from?
Myself is Dina Sangar. I'm joining from Bombay, Mumbai.
Mumbai, wonderful.
So my students are selected in ASAT exam and they have selected me to join.
Super. Thank you for sharing that. Dina.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm from Madurai, Chennai
Fun.
actually. Yeah.
Okay.
And my daughter secured good marks, and I came to know the details on my WhatsApp. So we have registered the exam for us.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
We have Madurai, we have Ahmedabad, we have Bombay, we have Bangalore so far. Where else?
We have Visakhapatnam also.
We have Visakhapatnam also. Exciting. Samina, Jennifer, Kiran, Ruhan. Would you guys like, anyone want to say hello?
Hi, this is Kiran from Bangalore.
Hi, Kiran. Wonderful. We are also in Bangalore, enjoying a nice warm day after a rainy week last week, no?
Yep.
Super. So Samya had actually shared with us on email a Google form. I'm curious if some of you got a sense of, got to see it and fill it. I know we had a few entries. But in the meanwhile, it'll be, hi, Jennifer. Nice to see your chat message. It'll be lovely to know a little bit more about you. So in the chat, if you could write, tell us where you're from, how old your child is, and what you're looking forward to about this workshop. That'll be great. It'll give us a sense of what we are all wanting to get out of it, and we can keep that in mind. So how old your child is, where you're calling from, that's just personal curiosity. And what are you looking for from the workshop? Oh, we have Padmanabhan from Kuwait. Hello. Samya, hi. Okay, wonderful. 10, 12-year-olds. Being on the cusp sounds interesting. Yeah, Samina. Does seem to be between two stages. That's interesting. Daughter is 9. Wonderful. Oh, Vadodara. Thank you, Rupali. Hi, Ranjini. Hi, Kairavi. If anyone joined just now, we are just saying hi to each other, waiting a couple of minutes for people to join us. And we are just sharing in the chat what you're looking forward to about the workshop, where you're calling from, and how old your child is. And it'll be lovely to see your faces. So please turn your video on.
Ma'am, can I get a pen?
Yeah, sure. Please take a minute to get a pen, get a drink of water, get some food if you need it. Any of those things. Get situated so that you're feeling comfortable. Hi, Jitendra.
Hi everyone, one quick question. If you are joining from a computer, could you please raise your hand on Zoom? That is, if you know how
So
to
if
raise your hand.
you hover down below, there'll be this thing called React. It'll have one heart shape that's little sideways. And if you press that, you can... Is that what you mean, Sidhu?
Yes,
Yeah, you
yes.
can raise your hand. Yes. Yes.
Thank you so much. Helpful for us to know who's joined from a computer as compared to a phone.
Yeah, we're going to give you a little extra work, okay? Hi, how do I pronounce your name? Anuija, am I saying that right?
Yeah, Anuja.
Oh, super. From Hyderabad, wonderful. Okay, I think, Samya, do you feel...
Yeah,
Samya?
if you say
Yeah.
go, we go. That's it.
We go. Super. Okay. So let's get started. And I think a few people will join us as we are chatting and we can invite them in. Soumya is a very interesting person. I really find every time I'm around her, I want to try and absorb some of her energy. It's very lovely to see. Soumya has had formal training in the Montessori system. She's a parent of 2 children who are fascinating people themselves. And she's been an educator for how long now, Soumya?
25 years, something like that. Yeah.
And she's right now working with GenWise on some multiple interesting projects, including supporting teachers in being able to better teach their classrooms with different kinds of teaching methodologies, being able to design their curriculum better. And what I personally enjoy about being around Samya when I was in the summer camps and seeing her interact with the children is this capacity to hone in on what that child needs. We're sitting in a room and everybody else, the other adults are just discussing. And was able to, sort of notice that one child was feeling uncomfortable, sit next to him, help him participate. And it was just something that is invisible to some of the other adults around who are all amazing people, and it was fascinating to see that capacity. And I'd love to learn that from her. So over to you, Samya. Take us off. I'm interested in what we're doing today.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Jenny, for that very generous introduction. Um, okay. So we will start soon with a slideshow. I will go through with the slides. But before that, I just want to say one thing, which is that this age, the 10 to 12 age band, for me as a teacher, as an educator, is the most charming, is the easiest, is the nicest age to teach to. Actually, as when I was all the years that I was actually a teacher in class, this is the nicest age to teach to for the following reasons. One, They have their basic literacy and basic numeracy done. Basic language, basic communication, basic sense of being in a group, understanding what an adult says, following rules, asking questions. Their basics are done, and they are not yet caught up in the difficulties of being a teenager. So this little period that you have, it's a bright period of sunshine. And for me personally, if I had to choose one age group to teach to, it would be this age group. So although you might think, what is she saying? I'm having so many difficulties with my children. That's fine. I mean, the only thing life guarantees is that there will be some challenges here and there. That's all right. But so that is why I thought we would talk about this age group, which is not usually talked of as a separate age group. We talk of primary children and we talk of adolescents, of course, but this transition, I feel, is a little bit of a gold mine. And it would be nice to shed some light on it. That's the goal. So let me start sharing slides. Here we go. Okay, so like Janani said a couple of times, it would be really nice if those of you who can could please leave your videos on, cameras on, so it feels like I'm talking to people rather than black boxes. But of course, we understand that not all of you will be in a position to do it at all times. That's fine. Okay, so let's get started. This is the plan of this session. So we'll first take a quick look, a brief look at what are the stages of child development and what it means. And then we will look a little bit at, so these are the stages, then what is this cusp that we are talking of today? Then we will move out into a discussion on a wish list that you guys can state. Then we will talk about how do you understand and support your child at this age? And then how do you build and maintain leverage? Now, I don't know if all of this sounds very high and mighty to some of you. It's okay. It helps me think. That's all. Once we get into the details, it will be clearer. One point I would like to say at the beginning is, if you have questions, you can type them out on chat. And as we go along towards the end, we will see if there is a break. I mean, we have time for 5 or 10 minutes and we will take those questions. I will let Janani and or Siddharth deal with that and throw the questions up. Yeah. But feel free to type the questions on chat. And yeah. Okay. So what are the stages of child development? According to Montessori, essentially there are 4 stages of child development. And so these are, in the Montessori, the word she uses is planes. So there are 4 planes of child development: the first, second, third, and fourth plane. Okay. So how do we understand this? I'd like you to just close your eyes for a second, or sort of just be within yourself and think of the newborn that you had or that you brought home, whatever. I mean, the newborn child. And then now think of the 6-year-old and the 12-year-old. And then an 18-year-old and a 24-year-old whom you know from outside. I mean, it is immediately obvious that these are slightly different creatures. What a newborn is and what a 6-year-old child is, you can't directly connect it until you have been a parent. How did this little thing become that thing in 6 years, right? Mostly they became by asking this question, what is this? Adeno, ye kya hai? Again and again and again and again. They continuously want to know what is this, what is this, what is this, what is that. And they learn names of things, of people, of places, of objects, of all the nouns, all the definitions of nouns that you can think of. And that is their defining feature. I won't say more about that. Around 6, 6.5, 7, So when I say birth, 6 years old, 12 years old, 18, 24, these are, sort of guiding posts. It may be a little bit over, a little bit under. Around 6 years of age, many children pass into the next stage, the next plane. Montessori calls it the second plane, which he calls the elementary age. In our systems, educational system, elementary has a slightly different connotation. It goes up to the child is 14. That's not what we are talking about. In this elementary age, this child, you can see, is a little more independent. He can move around independently. He can take basic needs of himself. He can handle them independently. I keep saying he, not because of anything else, because in the Montessori training, typically the adult is a she and the child is a he. That's all. There's whatever I say applies as much to little girls and little boys. There's no difference there. And for this age, the age between 6 and 12 years old, the kind of questions that they ask is why, how is that, why is this not, how is that not happening, why does this happen, why do you say so? And another important question, which I have not written here because I wanted to keep the slide neat, is the whole idea of fairness. That's not fair. That's not fair. This is something you hear constantly with children in this age. You don't hear it with the teenagers. They don't have that angst of that's not fair. They've sorted it out in their heads. But here at this age, that is still very much a question that is alive for these children. So we are interested in that elementary age because we are at the end of that elementary age, 10, 11-year-olds. And we are also interested in the next stage, the 12 to 18-year-olds who are adolescents. That is a much more anxious stage with many great changes. Physically, physiologically, neurologically, it's a time of great change. And that is why it is so turbulent. It is so messy and so chaotic in some ways. And also because our societies are not really prepared to give those youngsters what they need. They need to adjust to what there is. So it becomes a chaotic time. And then the 18 and 24 is the next stage when typically children get into a sense of defining themselves as economic producers, as economic contributors. What will I do? What will I be in this society? Now, this is the ideal picture. And this is the picture that was there 100 years ago, even I would say 50 years ago. This was about the predominant picture. Even 30 years ago, even after that, when I worked with children, this was about truth. There was no question. Now, this is the kind of picture we see in reality. The children, the elementary children, ages 6 to 12, are sort of compressed a bit. Infancy lasts a bit longer. Children are little babies, little for a little bit longer. And they quickly become adolescents. They quickly become teenagers, even though they are not 13 or 14 yet. And the anxieties of the next stage of what they will be, what their profession will be, what sort of jobs they will do, what sort of a vocation they will take up, what sort of professions they will take to. These questions begin to haunt them at much younger stages. So the diagram above is a slightly older one. It's a clean division, you can see. The next one is a much more messy. And this is the reality that we have to deal with now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So this is roughly the stages that are there. So the point I would like to emphasize here is what this means actually is that a child who is on one side of the stage is quite different from the child who is on the other side of their boundary. So what this child needs and what this child gets disturbed by is quite different from what this child needs and what this child gets disturbed by. Also, what this child gets excited by is different from what this child gets excited by. So as parents, as educators, it makes a lot of sense to know what is coming. It does not mean that it will solve problems, but you will be much better informed if you have a sense of the stages that are there and that are coming. And this is universal. This is not cultural. This is not particular to any nation or any group. This is for the human species. So this is a biological one can say. Okay. At any stage, I just want to put this out there. At any stage, whether a child is 2 years old or 22 years old, these are the two things parenting involves. One is to allow the child to develop from within fully, whatever it is inside that is calling him, whether it is to draw something, whether it is to paint, whether it's to do mathematics, whether it's to do sports, whatever it is, whether it is to do literature, whether it is to organize things, whether it's to manage people, whether it's to repair things, whatever it is that calls from within, we as parents need to help the child express that fully, to be himself or herself fully. The second thing is we need to help this child adapt to the outer world. So the child needs to blossom fully inside, and the child needs to respond and manage and work in a well-adjusted way with the outer world. Essentially, this is what parenting is about at any stage. If you say, what is this parenting you're going on? This is what it is. This is what one needs to do as a parent. Of course, it's very easy to say. And the point I want to make is this is very different for a 2-year-old, very different for a 12-year-old, very different for a 20-year-old. Depending on where your child is, this is what you're trying to do at all stages. But what it is, what this means and what you will help with, that pans out very differently. Okay. So this age, I just want to say this and then we will proceed to our next part. This age that is on the cusp, after 9 or so and before they hit teenage, it's a very nice age for a parent, and as I told you, for an educator also, for the following reasons. While very young children are very much open to parental inputs, parental will, you can force them to do things. Older children are not. Your 15-year-old is not going to be very amenable now when they get to 15. But at 11, 12, they are still open to parental inputs. They still are open to listening to you. They're still open to engaging with you. This is not a constant. So this is the other thing I would like you to note when there are different stages of child development. Whatever it is that you're seeing now, don't think it's going to be like this for the next 10, 15 years. There will come a time when it will change to something else. So while this lasts, enjoy it. That's the first thing. Yeah, whatever that this is. Okay. So they are open to parental inputs. And until they're about 12, 12 and a half, 13, their sense of identity of who they are, what their values are, what is it that they value, what is their moral compass, what they think of as right and wrong. All these things are still forming. It is not already set. So you still have a lot of leverage with this child. And this child is much more aware of what's going on around him. Much more aware of what the neighbors are doing, what the people in the community are doing, what people in my school are doing, what the teachers are doing. A small child of 7 is not so aware. But a child of 11 is very, very aware of what is going on around him and around her. And therefore, they also begin to understand the consequences. If I have a fight with my friend, this is what happens. If I do this, I will have a fight with my friend. If I say this, my parent is likely to do this. If I don't do this, my brother is likely to do this. Their sense of consequences is also very, very evident. And the nice thing there is that because they are a little more grown up, you can actually have very sophisticated conversations with them. It is not like a 7-year-old where you just tell them what to do. Or it is not like a 15-year-old where they will just do what they want to do for the most part. You still have that leeway. You can have that conversation of suggesting something, listening to them, and this back and forth is very much possible. This is the reason this stage is so beautiful and so important. Yeah. Okay. Let's move now. We move to the next item on the agenda. This is a wish list. Siddharth, how should we do this? Should I go ahead and sort of introduce what we are going to do and how do we?
Yeah. So if you introduce what you're going to do, then after that, I will talk about the mechanics of it.
Sure. Okay, so the purpose of this exercise is that people will be in groups, and I would like you to think about this one question. This is the question. It's on top of the screen. Fast forward to when your child is a 30-year-old adult, whatever their age is now. In your mind, go to the time in the future when you're going to have a 30-year-old adult. And from what we can see, it's very clear that you have, as a parent, you have been very successful. You have done an extraordinarily good job of parenting. Now, I want you to think about what is it that you will see in that child who will not be a child anymore, who will be an adult. What is it that you will see about the child's life, about the people in the child's life, about the circumstances, about what the child is doing, being, not doing, not being. Yeah, I want you to think a little bit about this question. And what we are going to do is we are going to collect these thoughts in a particular way. And I will let Siddharth now explain how we are going to do it. Should I stop screen share, Siddharth?
Sure, that works.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. I am just sharing a link in the chat. One moment. Yeah. Oh, to everyone. Okay. So, as educators and even as parents, we'd really like for our children to be in small classrooms, to be learning from teachers in small groups. So we're doing the same in this, just virtually. So we're going to set up breakout rooms where each of you will be 5 to a room. And so that means that there are about 5 different rooms over here. Okay. And what we'd like to work with then is I've shared the link to a document. On that document, we put the question that Soumya asked. The goal is over the next 15 minutes, we'd ask that within the group, 2 of you sort of volunteer for roles. One person try and ensure that everyone gets heard, and the second person try and ensure that we are on time. Okay, just these 2 roles. Let's go around the room and answer the question of who do you think your child will be, like what would they have done by the time they're 30? Okay, so the question itself is exactly there in the document. I'll open the breakout rooms. If you're having any difficulty, you can always ask the host for help. That will be there. And those of you who are able, please do type out please do type out in the Google Doc that I've shared. That will help us keep track of things. Okay?
Yeah, before we continue, are there any questions? If there are any questions, please feel free to ask now.
So questions about what Soumya discussed so far.
Yeah, no, about what we are going to do now with this
questions
exercise.
about what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Yes, thanks.
Is it clear what we are going to do? So there is the question. Imagine your child as he or she is 30, when they are 30 years old. And from the child's life, it's very clear that you have done a fantastic job of the parenting. You've been very successful. And so, and then now I want you to think about what is it that you're seeing as very successful parenting with this child who is now 30. I want you to think about what do you see? What do you see the child doing? What do you see the child's life as? Who are the people you see in the child's life? What are the child's habits? What are his strategies? What is his how is he managing his life? What is it that he's calling his life? How is he living his life? What are you seeing? It can be anything that comes to mind. Please don't think that it has to be some totally fancy stuff, nothing like that. Whatever it is that you see, you say it, and in each group, one person will go ahead and type that out into the document. And in that document, there are many pages. There's a breakout room number on each page. So whichever breakout room you go into, please type in the details into the page which has that breakout room number. So everybody in breakout room 1 will discuss whatever they discuss, and the person who is entering the information in breakout room 1 will enter it we'll enter it on that page. See, for example, the participants are nailed down here, and yeah, that's I will not say anymore. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So I've sent the document in the chat, and I'll open the breakout rooms now. If you have any questions, please just ask. There's a mechanism there. So you're all going to get a notification now saying, please join the breakout room. You can just press that, press yes, and you will join that breakout room. And then just start discussing with each other.
Yeah, Siddharth, I don't know if you need to share screen now.
Yeah. I just wanted to show them what the document looks like.
Sure.
Let me stop the screen share. Okay. So any of you who are still here, you would have gotten a notification. Please just do press saying, say yes that you want to join that room.
Yeah, people are slowly leaving, but there are still a few
Yeah.
people. Yeah.
Abhinav, I see you joined the breakout room and then left.
You're on mute, Abhinav.
There wasn't anyone there, so I thought maybe
Yeah, they're just
call
coming
you.
in. So
No, I'll do it. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yeah,
thank you.
thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, hi Siddharth. I'm Ruchi. I have not got any notification.
Ruchi hasn't gotten any notification.
Unassigned, it says, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just checking that out. Yeah.
Yeah, now I've got. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ruchi. I think you must have just dropped in and out.
Deepak, Sylvia, yeah.
I got, but I'm not seeing notification now.
This is Deepak?
Yes.
Okay, Deepak.
Room 1, shall I just move? Let me just move you to that room.
No, I'll just take care of it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure. Thanks, Siddharth.
Yeah, don't worry about the room assigning. I will take it. Sylvia and Mr. Singh, are you here with us? Maybe they're not active.
Deepak, I see him here also.
Deepak could have gotten the notification. So room 1, Shruti. Hi, Dr. Shruti. Ranjani, okay, I just need to go to one of the breakout room. Hi, Dr. Shruti. Soumya, room 3 is asking for help. I will just send you there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Hi, Shruti.
Hello.
Yes, tell me. Oh. Hi, Deepak.
Hello, I'm audible. Can
Yes.
you share the breakout room?
Yeah, I think you got, I've just sent it to you. I think you got disconnected and are back.
Yeah. I've still not got it.
Jitendra, you still haven't gotten it. Okay. Jitendra was in room 2.
2. Yeah.
Yes. I just sent it to you, Jitendra. Thank you. And Dr. Shruti is back. Hi, Dr. Shruti. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi. Are you able to hear me?
Hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So you should have gotten a notification to join a breakout room.
I joined it. I pressed yes.
You pressed yes, but you're still back here. Okay, let me, you'll get it twice more. And yeah, now you should have gotten it, ma'am. Hello. Hi, Dr. Shruti. Have you gotten the notification? Excellent. Okay. 5 doesn't seem to be. Jump to 5.
Yeah, we are back now.
Nobody else is back yet. So I think the others are still discussing.
Okay.
Sorry, you're back because you finished or you were?
No,
No,
we
I've
finished.
I've finished.
Okay, just
We
give us a couple of
finished.
minutes. Yeah, Siddharth, you can talk to them. Maybe I'm just
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
the
Sure,
aggregation.
sure, sure.
Sure.
Okay, lovely. So this was room number
4.
room number 4. Anya, Samina, Shahab, and Varalakshmi. I guess you did one round of sharing, but I'm curious, did you have any thoughts to add on top of what came out from that one round?
Oh, we were supposed to do or could have done more than one round, is it?
Yeah,
Didn't
definitely.
occur to us. We just gave 3 points each and stopped.
No worries. I really appreciate how ordered it is what you put over there. But I'm curious, like, because obviously you're all parents of the same age group. Do you feel like there are some things that have layered on?
I believe most of us were thinking among the same in the same direction. Like mostly similar thoughts have come out from everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So I believe we were good.
I saw that there's someone who wants to be an astrobiologist or wants their child to be an
That
astrobiologist.
startled me. That
I
was
myself
very
is that.
specific. Somebody said they want their child to be an astrobiologist. I was thinking, my gosh, the child has no flexibility there.
But maybe the child wants to be an astrobiologist.
Possibly. There you go.
As a biologist, I sort of
My
vibe
son
with this.
want to become astrobiologist.
Okay.
He's
It's never too late.
Oh, that's great. Okay, so then I will just inform all the breakout rooms that we will be wrapping up in a few minutes. Do you feel like conversation went smoothly in your groups?
Yeah, very smoothly in our room.
Yes.
Lovely.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So glad to hear. I think there are just 2 rooms that are almost done. They will be joining us shortly. Okay, let me quickly look at what's out here. Wow. Maybe it's just a sign of the kinds of people who are in this room that it's not so much about like engineer or doctor or particular professions. Right? I'm really appreciating that in all the responses that I'm seeing over here. Also, full disclosure, my kids are like 3 and 5, so I'm very far away from your age group. And I think, as Soumya said, I don't know. Like, you are in a different state of knowing something that I have no clue about, but I will eventually get to. So Soumya is the one leading this workshop because she's crossed that, she knows. And I'm just here to help make breakout rooms happen. But I wanted to thank you all for so seriously taking notes. It has been very helpful. Soumya, we've actually gotten everyone back.
Great. I think everybody's back. So let me do one thing now. Let me just share screen of the collated responses from all of you. And what I have done is I have picked up most of them. I might have missed 1 or 2 because it was at the end or it came in after I copied it. And I want to share with you what all you have shared under these different categories. So the first one is emotional and mental well-being. Things like self-care, self-awareness, emotional stability. Under this, these are the kinds of things you parents have written. And these are really, they're so touching that this is what we want for our children, right? That we want them to be emotionally regulated. I really liked this thing about should have failed many times and learned about it. That's a really a brave parent. And, surely the child will pick it up. Self-aware and resilient, kind and compassionate. Some of these I have put in two groups also, in social groups and this one. Should be able to work on weakness, take risks. So this is what we want for our child in this emotional mental well-being when he or she grows to be a 30-year-old child. In this domain, in relationships and in social life, things like what is the connection with community? What is the social life he has? What are his personal relationships like? Um, this is what we are looking for the child who will be the adult then, that they take care of the family, that they are close to their family and friends, that they know how to have a good time with family and friends, that they have a good sense, a good aura around them, and they understand people, and they are a loving family member, and they have, even if it is a few, they have a good few deep friendships. They are socially responsible. They are able to empathize. They have a few good friends who stand in good stead. This is what we are looking for in this space, relationship and social life. Under professional and personal growth, there are several, and most of them are looking for a certain spirit of strength, financial independence, of a balance between career. This, I mean, and and being able to manage money. Somebody had said, understand personal finance. Um Life skills and independence, a functional day-to-day ability to take care of oneself and whoever one is responsible for, a healthy lifestyle, mental hygiene, physical hygiene, an emotional and physical fitness, the daily day-to-day things that carry us through from one day to the other. Yeah. And this one, character and values. Um, I saw these two. I think there were one or two more which I have placed in the other by mistake. Things like this. And then this. So what is this is the larger picture of what you say is your quality of life. How does the child feel about whether his life is meaningful, whether it is going to go somewhere good? What is his footprint on the life? What is he leaving behind? What impact is he having? These are the sorts of things. So I find it quite humbling and quite fascinating that this is what we have come to. And I would really request you all to keep this in mind. So this is what we want our child to take with them, and nourish themselves when they are 30, right? When they are 30 and when they are doing their own thing, this is what we are hoping for, in their life. What we see as successful parenting. Uh, keep that in mind. Please keep that in mind. And let me go back to my slide that I was sharing. Just a minute, sorry. Yes. Okay, so this is where we were. Any comments people have about this, anything you'd like to share, please put on chat. I'll just continue to go ahead because I see we're already at 7:20 India time and we have just 40 minutes more. Okay. Now let's move with this. I would like you to keep this picture of what you wanted for this 30-year-old child of yours in the background. And let's see how we understand and support the child today, where the child is today, so that the child can get to what you see as a successful life for this child. Okay. For this, I will look at things along four different axes. The first one, we will look at physical development. So there is the elementary child, the primary child, and there is the adolescent child. And the characteristics of those are quite well defined. So this child, the 10, 11, 12-year-old child, is clearly pulling away from the primary and moving towards the adolescent. So he is not quite here and not quite there. And there's sometimes a little bit of this and sometimes a little bit of that. And sometimes a little bit of both. One very important thing I would say is this child is much harder and tougher now than they will be 5 years from now. Physically also, and we will see further down, socio-emotionally also. They don't get so easily upset. They don't feel so sensitive. They don't feel so hurt. They are able to brush things off and move on to the next thing, typically. One. Second thing is, at the other end, the adolescent is going to be extremely conscious of everything on their body, on their skin. They have the tiniest pimple here, and they are convinced that the whole world is staring at that pimple. So then this child is in the middle. We are not going to look at the middle child just yet. We are going to look at that further down. But I want you to get a sense of where this child is. What are the two ends? And this child is somewhere in the middle. So this is about the physical development. Intellectual development is a very interesting one because in my experience and according to Montessori, the foundational years, the greatest potential to hone in that intellectual development, to internalize a love for learning lies in this age. We usually ignore this age. Typically, I like to, this age I think of and I speak of as the forgotten age. A child who's 4 or 5, you cannot forget them. They need you for their, everyday thing. They need, when they need to eat, when they need to use the toilet, they need you. When they need to sleep, they need you. So a 4 or 5-year-old child, you cannot forget. A 13, 14-year-old child will not let you forget them. They are so, they're struggling so much dealing with life that you will be drawn into that struggle. This child in the middle, from about 7 till about 12, this child, it is easy to forget. In social situations, you'll see they don't typically demand much attention. That is one part of the story. The intellectual achievement, this is the age when children will learn just for the pleasure of learning. They don't really need to know why. Anything bizarre, anything unconnected, anything vague, whether you're talking of blue earthworms or galaxies or starfish or planets or dinosaurs, they love it. They love it. And compared to a very young child, they are capable of some abstract thinking. They have a very vivid imagination. And this is the age for stories. And they need large stories, large work to think about, which sometimes our systems are not able to provide. We think of them as small children and they are given small bits of work, but they need large bits of work and they need to look at very large things in a simple way for them to retain, to build and actually retain that love for learning. If the love for learning is squashed at this age, because of whatever reason, it is very difficult to resurrect it later. It's not impossible, nothing is impossible, but it is difficult. An adolescent, on the other hand, the main idea of adolescence is the young adult wants to know what is his place economically and sexually in this society. What is his role? How does he fit in? The exchange of goods and services, our society as an economic machine is of great interest to the adolescent. And he's very keen on finding out, so how do I fit into this? What do I see myself as giving and taking? Where is my value that I add to the society? And because of this, because of their of the fact that they're looking more deeper at things in a more deeper way, I mean, their learning is much more abstract now, and their learning needs to come from experts. Generalists have their field day till about 11, 12 years age of the child. Once the child crosses that, they really need experts to learn from. They need well-trained, well-experienced experts. And from the educator side, I can tell you, to teach this age group, one has to earn the respect of this age group. It is not a given. earn the respect, earn the affection of the adolescent. So the primary child is here, the adolescent child is here, your child is somewhere in the middle, sort of sliding this side and that side at times. Socio-emotionally, like I said, this primary age, this child is stable. Emotionally, they're not very prone to highs and lows. They're fairly predictable, fairly easy to get along with. They have a strong sense of justice. This age, they have a very strong sense of what is fair and what is not fair. And they are constantly watching the parents for what is right and what is wrong. A 5-year-old may or may not notice that you are standing at home and saying on the phone, yeah, I'm just 2 minutes away. I will be there in 2 minutes, when it's going to take you half an hour to get there. Or telling on the phone, oh, I'm traveling. I haven't gotten to that work yet. A 5-year-old child won't notice the incongruity there, but a 10, 11-year-old child will definitely notice the gray areas. This child will notice the moral lapses. His attention is drawn to when you're not being fair, when you're lying. And this child will be very interested in understanding. We all lie. Lying is, it's not that we all tell the truth all the time. We are all living a real life. So when is lying allowed? When is lying not allowed? When is it a good thing? When is it a bad thing? Somebody's phone is
I've taken care of it, no issues.
yeah, thanks for that. So for example, lying, when is it okay to lie? When is it not okay to lie? How, and with whom is it okay to lie? About what is it okay to lie? These children are constantly trying to understand this. The younger child, the primary child. The older child knows it. He's cracked it. He's not going to examine these issues again. One more interesting thing for the younger child, in this case, the 10, 11-year-old is closer to the younger child, is they are capable of this idea of hero worship. So this is the age, for example, to introduce biographies to them of people from long ago, people today, people doing things for tomorrow. This is the age. But very often in our systems, we don't introduce biographies at this age. So they begin to hero worship false heroes, actually. So that is the younger child. The older child is going through changes physically, psychologically, mentally. And in fact, the way Montessori sees it is that by the time a child is about 12, he's sort of fully born as an individual. His sense of who he is and what he stands for is fairly well defined. And at 12, between 12 and 18, the child as a social being is being born. It is in some sense a rebirth, and that is why it is so painful, because the child has to now find a way to mediate that inner self that he has defined and the outer world that seems so harsh and unfriendly. One very, very important help they need here, apart from the things I've written, I'm not reading everything that I've written, you are all looking at it, is what I've highlighted. They really need non-parental adults in their lives who are not parents, but who are well-wishers, who mean well, who understand the child, who are affectionate, the adolescent. So your child is here now. At adolescence, they benefit greatly from well-meaning adults who are not their parents. And in the primary age, they need lots of stories, lots of interaction with the outside world to understand what is going on, how do things work. Yeah. So this is the socio-emotional development. The cultural and moral development in the primary child is much more to do with a certain joy and delight in doing things and doing things differently and specifically, and celebrations and joy. They love it. The adolescent, on the other hand, will only participate if they are already familiar things. They will not try new traditional things now. So if these things are not part of their life from earlier, it's not very easy to get them started on these things. In fact, counterculture is much more appealing than culture at this age. And what is seen as cool is much more appealing. What is new is much more appealing. What is ahead is the thing that draws them. What is behind, they find extraordinarily dull and boring. So this is, and this we need this. Or let us not forget that this is the spirit that pushes the human civilization forward. If we are all always comfortable with what is behind us, then nothing is going to move. We are not going to be sitting here on Zoom calls listening to each other. This is the spirit that pushes civilization, pushes humanity forward. Yeah, that doesn't mean it's easy to deal with as a parent. That's not what I'm saying. But so this newness is on one side, and this joy and delight is on the other side. This. So your child is sort of straddling these two words. Okay. So this is what the child is. This is the stage at which the child is, and along these axes, these are the extremes between which he's sort of living his life. So what does one do about it? What can one? How can one sort of support the child, which is all one is looking to do? So for physical development, it's a little easier to think about it. To model active lifestyles. So essentially, these are the four axes along which all support needs to be given. You need to model the behavior that you want to see. Children will do what you do, they will not do what you say. So what you do is what they will do. So if you in your family, in your house, in your setup have healthy habits, that will become the default for the children. But there are specific things that one can do to expand knowledge and horizon. At this age, many children take to cooking. This is a very important skill. It's an important basic life skill. It's an important skill to continue to learn coordination. And it's important that we allow ourselves to go through the inconvenience of a messy kitchen initially when this child is learning. The social aspect of food. They also need to understand the whole marketing, advertising thing that food is now fast become. What does it mean? Why does the crunch of a Lay's chip draws you? I mean, what is going on there? Why is it that that Pepsi spends so much money on advertising? These sorts of things, these conversations are possible with this child, and one must not let go of this opportunity. Again, I'm saying at 7, 8, these conversations are very difficult to have. At 14, they are not going to be interested in these conversations with you. But now this window is fertile. Use it. Yeah. Uh, so these are the four axes basically: modeling behavior, expanding knowledge and horizon, addressing the concerns that they may have, and fostering independence. For every domain, these are the four things. I have also put in a statement there on every slide. What is the role of the device in your child's physical well-being? I don't have an answer to this because there is no individual answer. This is something for each parent and each family to think about. The device is here to stay. It's not going to go away. There is no going back. So what is its role? How are we using it as a tool rather than letting ourselves be used by the tool? This applies to all the next slides that are coming. But I just want to put this out there because this is something that each parent, each family has to take a call. It may even be different for each child in the family. Yeah, supporting intellectual development. This actually is the easy thing to do because the whole world, the knowledge, the information, the systems, the courses are available literally at our desktop today. It is extremely easy. The difficult part is to have a sense of discernment. What is age appropriate? What is my child's interest? Where am I willing to let him make mistakes? This child needs to try very many different things. But it's also important that the child goes a little bit deep into something that appeals to him, whether it's music or arts or painting or sports or carpentry or electronics or mathematics, whatever it may be, or tree climbing or ecology or whatever it may be. This child needs to get into the thick of things. And I've also put that non-parental adults to engage with, that the hint of that needs to start at this age. Their worlds are a little bit beginning to expand, and they really benefit from this kind of thing. Addressing concerns, this can become stressful because we as parents, when they are 7, 8, 9 years old, we are not usually stressed out about their learning. But when they come to 10, 11, 12, the exam and the life of exams is appearing on that horizon there in a few years. So we pick up our expectation, we pick up our tone, we let our patience and our understanding sometimes slip. So these concerns that children have need to be addressed. How? Conversations. Conversations are the way. Next, fostering independence. The most important thing here, I would say, is help them develop their own systems. What is it that works for them? Do they do the homework first? Do they finish this homework first? Do they do the drawing first? Do they work on their strengths first? Do they work on their weakness first? What is you as a parent help them devise these systems? And here I will, full disclosure, I'm a GenWise mentor. Programs like GenWise Summer Program go a long way in fostering independence because the child is away for 2 weeks exactly with the kind of adults I mentioned. These are not parents. These are caring, affectionate, very, very accomplished adults who are very happy to engage with the child. So the programs like this go a long way in helping the child blossom into who he is. Socio-emotional development. This one, you will notice that I have combined model behavior and expand knowledge horizons. It's really very hard to separate the two. You as the parent and the child need to understand what is going on within. What do I stand for? How do I respond to another human being? How do I maintain boundaries? And yet, how do I help somebody? What does it mean to belong to a certain culture? How do I resolve my conflicts with my friends, with my peers, with my parents, with the society around me? This domain, addressing concerns becomes very critical. To have those conversations, light conversations. This becomes very, very important. For the child to learn to regulate his emotions, to not get triggered, to know what are his triggers, to be able to cope up with them, to be able to achieve that balance. This anxiety will come more and more and more. So the more channels you already have with the child to establish conversations, the easier this will become. Fostering independence, slowly you let them into groups that they are comfortable with, that makes sense to them, not into groups that they don't want to be in. If your child is not a sports person, it makes no sense to put him into a sports class and say, no, it will help your spirit. But if this child wants to play sports, please. Supporting this cultural and moral development. This actually is learned a lot from what behavior you are modeling. It is very difficult for the child to pick up ethics and morals that we as parents don't personify. If we want to live the dangerous life and we want the child to be a law-obedient, law-obeying citizen, it is going to be very difficult. Now, I'm not saying you're all living dangerous lives, but I just mean that children will do what we do and not what we say again. Again, expanding horizons, address this. Here, addressing concerns is very important at this age, this cusp age, because they are very bothered by things that they see as discrimination, that they see as not being fair. They're very sensitive to it. Why did this happen? Why did he behave that way? Why did the teacher say this? Why did this uncle say this? Why does this happen on TV? These are fertile grounds for conversation with your child. this moral gray area of when is it okay for me to lie? Who is it okay for me to lie to? What things are okay to lie? And where lying is totally a no-no. This differentiation, which adults all have, this is something this child is trying to develop. Yeah. Okay. So this is the toolkit we have. Essentially, it's the toolkit we have. We are expanding knowledge and horizon. We are modeling behavior. We're addressing concerns, and we are fostering this independence. Essentially, this is the toolkit we have. Okay, great. Now, what is interesting is this is the easiest part, like I said earlier. Getting them to resources, getting them to online, offline resources, people, programs, courses, individual mentors, teachers, extended courses. These sorts of things go a very long way at this age. And my recommendation for these courses will be, if your child wants to go to something, there is no better thing to send him to. Send him to that, what he wants to go for. If you want him to go to something, he needs to be convinced that it is worth his time. Give him some choice in the matter. At the same time, I do understand that we want our children to try new things. So what I have found works, for example, is to get a buy-in from the child saying you can go to that class that you want to go to, but I would like you to try this class in this domain. But shall we try it for 3 months? Shall we try it for 6 months? So you get an agreement from the child before getting started. Otherwise, if you are going to put him into things that he does not feel that he wants to be in, every single class is going to become a battle. Or the child is going to completely give up. He's just going to go and come. His body will do time, but his mind will be somewhere else. And you will be spending your time and your money and your energy and raising your expectations because he is going to that course, which he doesn't care for, which speaks not to him.
Soumya, there's a question in the chat that I think is relevant to this slide, which is how to balance studies and other skills when the child has aspirations to become a sports person or an artist.
Okay. So about sports person, so about India, I can give you some sense of it. I'm not sure if this question is from somebody in the Gulf. I don't know how it works there. Excuse me. Okay. So sports in India is extraordinarily competitive. We are just a large nation with a lot of people, and talent is rising. It is extraordinarily competitive. Sports, this is point one. Point two, sports is extraordinarily good for people to do, to play, to participate in. There is no question. Both are equally true. So my suggestion will be, let the child compete at the highest level that he can until he is about 14, 15 or so. If by the time he is in, say, 10th grade, he has not made it quite high, like to a state team or something like that, it is not going to be easy for him to build a career out of it. It can still be a serious hobby, but it cannot be a career if he is not at that level. That is the reality. Yeah. This is a very specific answer to a specific question. Arts, I am not so sure it works like that, because arts is not that cutthroat competitive. There is still space for people to do art while doing other things. So I will not apply exactly the same logic to art. And it may not be such a cutoff, because sport is a physical thing and it's a very definite time window. Our art doesn't work so much like that. So I would say if a child is interested in art, he should again keep up with it. I know children who were extraordinary painters, extraordinary drummers, two specific children, two very different children. But by the time they were about 11th grade, 12th grade, in two separate, actually, I'm saying the stories together, but actually they're two separate stories separated by time also. But both these children, one was a boy, one was a girl, both these children decided that they don't want to pursue this music or the drumming or arts for their career because both of them actually gave the same reason. Was that they felt they love it too much. They don't want to taint it by making it like their career. They don't want to do courses on it and learn it and do it. They just want to have fun with it. That's fine. That's a perfectly acceptable explanation. And the child who was doing art came back and said, look, the lifestyle that I aspire to, I am never going to be able to make it as an artist. So I will do my art on the side because I love it. But that cannot be my career. This was at 11th standard, both these children independently. I think this is quite a mature analysis of the problem and a mature stance to take for a child. Because then it's very clean. They know that they love it and they know why they have not chosen it. And then they can go ahead and look at other things that will work for them. Yeah.
Thanks,
I
Soumya.
like this. Yeah, sure. It takes a village to raise a child. This is something I want to leave you with, especially on this slide. We forget, especially today, parenting has become a very lonely thing to do. It's just you and your child and your spouse, and that's it. That's not how children are designed at all. That's not how they were meant to be raised at all. We may not be living in joint families. It may not be possible to live in joint families. That's all right. We still have friends. We still have family that we meet here and there. Children need people in their lives. Children need adults. Children need very different kind of adults. Adults who spoil them a little bit. Adults who are strict with them. Adults who joke with them. Adults who tease them a little bit. Adults who are affectionate. Children need different kinds of adults. And we can't be all to them. No way. We can be only what we can be. And I just want to make one more point here. I think I've written it a little bit later, which is it's my suggestion, my experience is it's not a good idea to try to be a friend to your child. You cannot really be a friend unless you share the same joys and the same sorrows. We don't share the same joys and sorrows as our child. We never can. Our time is past in some sense. That their childhood is what is on. They need children around their age to be friends with. We can be a friendly parent. That is different. But it's not a good idea in general to try to be your child's friend. Yeah. Okay. Now, this last point I want to discuss a little bit. How can you build and maintain leverage? What does leverage have to do with child raising and supporting a child? This is what we saw, all the things that that a child is at this age. What is the child's nature? And we saw how can you support the child. From the form that was shared with you a few days earlier about the course, there was a question, what is it that I would do more of? What is it that I would do? What is it that I would change in myself if I could? And this is the collection of responses from there. I found this very touching and very genuine and very authentic. I must thank the parents for really authentically engaging with these questions. So how does this relate to all that we have said? Where does this fit into giving them support on their physical development, on their socio-emotional development, their intellectual development, their character, moral character, values? How does this connect with all that? Because this is what you are seeing on the ground as a parent, day to day. This is what you're seeing. One of the things about parenting is that it's a very non-glamorous thing to do. There's nothing glamorous about good parenting. It's every day it's the same thing or a very similar thing, and you have to get through. So from there, how do we get to all this support and all these sorts of things? This is how I like to see it. You have leverage through the things that we discussed, through modeling your behavior, through conversations and addressing the child's concerns. through setting up processes, systems, support systems for fostering the child's independence, through expanding knowledge and horizon and introducing more people into the child's lives. All these are leverages that you have for the child's development. But all of them work on the quality of the relationship that you have with your child. If the quality of the relationship is good and solid, then if one lever doesn't work, you will use the other one. If one doesn't work, you can use the other one. If you are not able to address concerns, you can take help from somebody. If you are not able to foster independence, you can check out how your friends are doing it. You can do other things. You are still open, and the child will be open to other things too, if the quality of the relationship is sound and strong. Now think that you have all the resources that you can possibly give the child. You are very committed to fostering independence. You are addressing concerns regularly, but the quality of your relationship with the child is not as healthy as it could be. You will have no leverage with your child, or very little leverage with your child. So what does one do? A couple of things. First is you have to spend some time knowing yourself. We all do our parenting with voices in our heads from our past, from our families, from our experiences. Even those voices which we didn't want to listen to, even which we didn't want to hear, which were not good for us, especially those, we carry them in our heads and we use them. We don't really understand so well or so honestly what our motivations are. We, every morning when we wake up, we don't think, oh my God, today I'm going to yell at this child of mine. He really deserves a yelling. No. We wake up thinking, I'm going to be the best parent. I'm going to be gentle. I'm going to listen. I'm going to be calm. I'm going to let the child be. And then the day takes over. The daily grind of parenting takes over. Knowing yourself and taking yourself lightly and taking care of yourself, getting support for yourself, giving some time for yourself. These need not be very fancy things. It can be a 10-minute walk that you will go to every day, irrespective of anything else. It can be a journal that you will write every week, irrespective of anything else. These can be fairly serious, committed programs. In fact, in the resource list that we're sharing, there's a course that we highly recommend for parenting. It can be something quite serious as that. It can be something small. I will say that all of you parents who are here today, you are already on the other side to some extent, because otherwise, why are you even here? Why are you even here to understanding what this cusp parenting is? You're already trying to do a better job. And great. So knowing yourself, what your motivations are, what are your drivers? What is it that you're seeking in the child? What are you expecting? Where are these ghosts in your head? And where are the joys in yourself? And how do you sort them out? There are a zillion ways that can be done. I'm not going into that. You all can, you can find out. You can meditate, you can jog, you can, join a socio-emotional health group. There are a number of things you can do. But this is extremely important, and it is even more important at this age. It is important, yes. It is even more important in the future. Your teenage child is going to look at you. They will scrutinize you very harshly. Not yet. This child is much more forgiving. Then this is the other thing to do to build that relationship? First, please remain attuned to the child's emotional state. Meaning, how is your child faring generally? Generally in school, generally with his friends, generally with her dance group, generally with the other friends in the apartment. Where is she? What is she? What is bothering her? How are things with her? Have some way of touching base on these things before there is an issue. We think, oh, when there's an issue, I'll sit and talk to her. No, if we don't build these bridges when there are no issues, our children will not know how to talk to us when there are issues. Go for a walk, sit down, have a juice with her, have some small thing happening, and keep this thing going. Keep this thing that she should come to you when something is disturbed, and you should be able to pick it up when something is disturbing her. I mean, sorry. With this, you will build trust and a mutual respect. Also, any parenting strategies that you use, we have in our resources also, we are sharing some. They're all very good strategies, but you are the one to decide whether it is appropriate at this age for this child. If you have two children, you know children are very different. The only thing sometimes one feels the only thing they share is the parents. They are so different sometimes. And tweaking that, your child has to get the sense, has to experience the sense of being this valuable, capable person who is quite complete and who is loved completely. If that much you give the child will take off. And keep channels of communication open. One of the worst things that we do as parents is stop talking to a child when we are upset. That's very, very cruel to the child. We don't mean to be cruel. For sure, we don't. But for the child, because the child has no sense of where to go and what to do now. So you are very welcome to say, look, I am so mad with you now that I think I'm going to hit you if we start talking now. So let's just talk about this tomorrow when we are calm. No problem. Leave it. Come back tomorrow and say, yeah, okay, now let's see how this looks. That's fine. You don't have to talk about it when you are seething with anger, rage, disappointment, whatever it is. But keep the channel open. At this age, in this cusp age, if you keep the channel open, it will serve you extraordinarily well through the teenage years. Yeah. This is essentially, I think, what I had to say. I will stop here. Siddharth, if there are questions, we can take a few. We are at 8 o'clock. I am fine with staying for 5-10 minutes. If parents would like to stay, they are most welcome to stay. We can take a few questions. If people would like to leave, I think that's also fair. There's a feedback form, Siddharth. Do you have it? It will be good if you can, or I can share it.
Is it a Google form that you've made? Yeah. It's a Google. Yeah. And also, while we're waiting for the feedback form to come up, I just wanted to tell you all that I, for one, learned a lot from today. This doesn't mean the conversation has ended, but just before people leave, I'd just like to say thank you to Soumya on everyone's behalf. And also, what she was talking about, right? This community, the ability to create curiosity, to cultivate it, these non-parental adults who are interesting to interact with. Over the last year, I've had the opportunity to learn with, to teach a lot of students in this age group of 8 to 12 to 13 years. We've been doing this on the Gifted World platform. So please do stay engaged with us as we come up with offerings. Our aim is to precisely cultivate this kind of community that's helpful for people like you. And so with that, I'll get over to the questions that Soumya had. So Soumya has also shared the feedback form. It'll be very helpful if you could click on it and fill out your thoughts. Soumya, we've had sorry. If someone wants to unmute and ask a question, please go ahead. I think Abhinav, you've unmuted.
Yeah, I had a question.
Sure.
So,
Yes, sir.
so
Please.
thank you very much for all the things which you all guys have done. Wonderfully done. Thank you very much. It opened my eyes to few the things which I would need to course correct on. But I just had one question. I have a 9-year-old daughter. What I find more challenging than anything is that she's going through that evolution of having she's always been a very strong-willed child. So how to deal with that reluctance of a 9-year-old or a 10-year-old to basically be averse or oppositional to now all parental requests, or there's no insistence. The time for insistence was not there even when she was 3. She was very, very strong-willed even then. But now there is also what I would sometimes term as at a certain, if I term it negatively, defiance, but at a more positive level, I think she's asserting her independence. So I think it's pretty understandable. But how does a parent adjust to that as when you are dealing with that as a parent? Especially, my generation, I'm turned 40. We practically, even though I was a boy, I was basically told what to do and what not to do for a very long time.
Yeah, a couple of things. One is, first of all, it's not very easy, not a very small question to answer. So there is a very good resource in the file that we will share. It's a set of books by these two women called Adil Faber and Elaine Maslish. It's called How to Talk So Child Will Listen, How to Listen So Child Will Talk.
Can I have the names of the writers again?
Yeah, let me put it on chat.
Okay.
Soumya, you go ahead. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
So so there are series of books. You can pick up the one that just says child. That's it.
Okay.
The important thing in that is, I'll tell you about the book first and then other things.
Okay.
The interesting thing about the book is it gives you a very convincing case and very specific things to do in a given situation. If there is a situation, what do you say? It boils it down like that. It is not a book that attempts to explain the theory of why this works or what the child is feeling, the psychological. Sorry.
Practical tools.
It's a how-to book essentially. It tells you do this and do that. And believe me, I have used that book a lot. In fact, what I used to do is they give you specific techniques to use, and I had written down those techniques on a paper and hidden it on the backside of my cupboard. So when my child would say something, I know that there is a response that I have to give, but I've not done it enough that I've forgotten it. So I come back, look, and go back and say it. Initially, when you use the techniques, they say you feel slightly fake because you feel, the book says that. So I am saying this. It feels a bit like you're sort of playing a role, like you're acting in a movie or a theater.
Okay.
But my suggestion is stay with it. Stay with it because it works just for that reason. Once you see your child responding differently, then you won't feel like you're play acting at all. Then it becomes a part of you. That is one thing. Second thing is, I understand the frustration and the sort of exasperation in a sense. I will say keep the trust high, keep the faith in the child high, but don't negotiate boundaries that are important. Some boundaries cannot be negotiated. The others, forget about it. You decide what your boundaries are. And it's important to discuss and negotiate those boundaries before it becomes an issue. Before your child wants to wear clothes that are too short for your comfort, you need to have this conversation about what is it that as a family, what are we comfortable with when she's 12, when she's 15, when she's 18? What would be fine with us? And in what context? When you go to a beach, you may be comfortable with something else. When you go to a wedding, you may expect something else. When you go to see your grandparents, you may expect something else. So these conversations need to be had before there is an issue.
Okay.
If the conversations happen only when there is an issue, children don't want to have the conversation because then you're addressing only the issue.
Yeah.
So I hope that was helpful, but check out this book.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Sure.
So, I will of course check your website and get in touch with you guys, regarding the courses and whatever other resources you guys have created and are, sort of putting it out for parents like us. So that would be one. I'm sure you'll put all of that. I'll get all that information from the website also. But just want to understand: are there any regular sort of sessions or interactions which you do with children as well on a regular basis? And how can we
Yeah.
get access to
Yeah.
that?
So we do have free master classes that happen about twice a month
Okay.
on a range of topics, and we tend to make them almost orthogonal or at 90 degrees to what's happening in school. So, for example, we can do we've done a master class on how paper frogs jump. That is challenging whether you're in 12th grade or whether you're in 3rd grade. Right. So we have mentors and we try and pick topics that work to that extent. So these master classes keep happening about twice a month. Again, if you're already a member on Gifted World, which you are, in order to access this workshop, you will get that in an email. Once a month, we send a digest email of everything that's going to happen.
Okay.
And so you will get that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Then in terms of the chat, Soumya, I think another couple of questions that Medha. So if Jitendra is still around, Jitendra, you'd asked a question about how to specialize skilled teachers. Maybe you can unmute and ask that question.
Yeah, we'll check. Yeah, good evening. Actually, I just wanted to tell you that we have not received, being a part of this gifted world, we have not received any such communication regarding that. You are saying that twice in a month there is a workshop. So may I know what is the reason behind it? Why we are not receiving
How
it?
long have you been signed up on?
Maybe a month or two.
Month or two. Yeah, so we've just been in the middle of a bunch of online courses that just wrapped up a week ago. So you would have received notification about this workshop and another workshop coming after, and then our regularly scheduled master classes will be starting up after
Yeah,
that.
so I am basically more interested for the master classes, which I have never been part of that.
Yes, so we'll once they're up, we will. I think the next one is in
So
November. There's one
you mean to
about
say that it was never conducted?
the last 2 months. We've been busy with a set of courses. If you go to our website, you can see all the past master classes, and they're also all uploaded on our YouTube channel.
Okay, so it would be great if you can share those links so that we can go back and check those previous
Definitely.
master class.
We'll include it in the resource packet that
Thank
we
you so
send out
much.
to all of you.
Thank you.
So Jitendra, you had a question about how to find skilled teachers in arts or other sports.
Yeah. So for example, I have a 13-year-old son and I have a 6-year-old daughter. 13-year-old son is trying to pursue like cricket along with his studies, and the other question was also from my end only, like, so I have a follow-up question on that, but first we'll go to the skill. So I find like on the internet, I see that yeah, we have all the resources available from which we can help our children learn, but something different about having a physical teacher, that just takes the learning to another level. So I am actually struggling. I am staying in a metro city, Mumbai, and I am still struggling to find, teachers, where I'm really comfortable sending my child, and, be assured that they are spending their time, effort and energy and everything, both for me as well as the child, is getting what we want to do over there. So I'm finding it really difficult to, have that, I don't know, list with me, like, today she's interested in arts, tomorrow it might be dancing or singing. So a good mentor, a good teacher, with whom we can connect, and at the right age, if they touch the right chords with the children, it stays with them, and then some magic can happen later on, maybe.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that is true. Has your child come to any of the GenWise programs?
not yet, not yet. So like I said, right, he's into cricket and everything.
Right.
So he doesn't. The programs are during that time when the cricket season is at its peak.
Okay.
So if it is monsoon or something, then it is definitely that's something that we can look into. But
Right.
for now, I also don't want to, like you said, right, we don't want to put him into things that we think are good for him. Rather,
Sure.
yeah. So now he's actually in Nagpur, just traveling yesterday for 1 week, completely like one of his coaches and four other kids with him. So he's really happy actually being away. We are missing him for Diwali, but at the same time, I am relieved that he's taking this independent step in his life and get to know like how different the world is away from house for a week.
Right, right. And they will, and even the children who come to our programs value that that independent existence because they are in a bubble that is completely new. But there are extraordinarily accomplished, concerning adults who are willing to engage with them all day, at lunch, at dinner, at tea. So it's an extraordinary experience for the children. Like you said, for the children who are interested in any of those courses, it makes a lot of sense. But the point I wanted to highlight from there was that this idea of expanding the child's village to include other people as part of that, whether it's sports, whether it's arts, whether it's science, is just a detail. That is a key. That is a key to this age group. Yeah. It is a struggle. I don't know, Siddharth, whether we have any resources to recommend, any particular things recommend in a place like Mumbai, or I mean, a lot of this still happens via contacts, and a word of mouth type thing.
We would love as parents to get those contacts, because it's been a struggle for us. Like even with 13-year-old son as well as 6-year-old daughter, now I don't want to like miss out the bus like I've done with my 13-year-old son. So that is why I'm like, I don't know, maybe we can as a group come together and maybe arrange some session in one city every time, and even that is quite helpful. The thing I believe with technology is that what happened normally in our age was when you were in your 10th grade, there was always someone in 12th grade who was around you, bullying you a little bit, also teaching you life lessons, away from your home. Now that has completely this all is shattered now, because the 12th grade child doesn't want to speak to 10th grade child today. In fact, 10th grade child doesn't want to speak to the someone in 10th grade itself. We are so isolated. The place where we are living, we are trying so hard to bring kids together so that they have this same age mentorship, you can say, right? Because that is the best way for the kids to learn.
Right.
But we are struggling with this. If I don't know, like, how do we sort this?
Yeah, I mean, my experience with alternative schools has been that they provide a very good environment for this kind of thing, for age groups across different ages, for children across age groups to mix, to get a sense of their own self, to be able to explore where their interests are, that kind of thing. But there are lots of other non-alternative schools that have their strengths in terms of sound programs. Yeah, Vishnu, do you want to say something here?
Yeah, I just want to say something. This is Vishnu from GenWise. And with respect to Jitendra's question about finding some in-person teachers, yes, it's not easy. Even in a metro city, sometimes, distances can be quite crazy, or we may not know things. But my suggestion is, please write to us. We on Gifted World ID, we always respond within 3-4 days. Sometimes we have been able to give some answers and leads to parents, and sometimes other parents are able to respond. For example, one of our mentors is in Mumbai. He's especially good with making things with his hands and on whether it's electronics or engineering and so on. Then we know people who do math things in Mumbai. So suppose we find, for example, we may not immediately have a solution for you, but sometimes if 5 parents say they want something similar, we are able to help with that. And sometimes we have information you may not have. For example, are you aware of the Chai and Wai program which happens every month in Prithvi
Juhu,
Theatre?
right? Yeah, I am aware of it.
Yeah. So just going to that Chai and Wai thing, and sometimes you meet people there, or sometimes in Homi Baba Center for Science Education, something happens. So I think, I think it's good you asked this question. So in our newsletter, we used to share upcoming events. So maybe we'll try to start doing that again on our website. But if you write to us, between us, we might know something which you're not aware of. And we can, so sometimes parents tell us, that my son is going here and this person is really good, and we may not know that person, and then we pass on that information. Yeah.
Also, we can all do something like community here, like this happened a lot during COVID times, right? There were like Excel sheets which were circulating with people
Right.
sharing information like where you can find what. I think we
Right,
can
that
do
would be,
something similar.
that would be wonderful. So suppose we find that there are 10 parents in Mumbai and some of them are in a certain part, and maybe some of the parents can also be mentors. For example, we may not be able to physically come there, but we can give you resources that why don't you, use this and try this and so on.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Sure. Thanks.
Okay, if there are no more questions, we can wind up. Again, just reminder for the feedback, those of you who can. Shall we wind up for Siddharth?
Yeah, I think so. No one else has raised their hand, or I think the questions that came up in the chat, Vishnu and I have done rather detailed replies. So
Sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
once again,
Thank you, people. Feel free to leave.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
think
we will share the resources document by email within a day, I think. Right, Sami?
yes. Yeah, it is ready. We can send it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll send it later tonight.
Yeah, and maybe we can stop the recording perhaps at this point. Yeah.
Thanks. Bye, everyone.